Hello everybody, San here, engineer, MBA, and investor. And in today's video, I want to talk about why I believe this company, Caribou Biosciences, is the most underrated company in this space and also the most disrespected company in this space. I want to talk about all of that in this video. So it started off basically with their data from CBO10, right? So they published this last month, basically mid part of the month of May, I believe is the week of 12th May. And what happened is they published their first set of data for the first time ever for their CBO 010 program, which is basically tackling the CAR T cells and basically making anti-tumor activity last longer in the body. So basically now you have a human body that has more cells that can combat cancerous cells, right? So that's basically the gist of it, or at least the outcome of an end goal of this program. And obviously they're doing that through a specific gene knockout and so on. But the reason why I wanted to make this video is because now look at this. They are presenting the data on June 10th, right? So that is about 5 days from now, which obviously you guys can bet I'll be recording and showing that interview, that conference to you guys. So that's going to be later this week coming out. But as I started thinking, I was like, well, this data came up over almost a month ago at this point, and I haven't really seen a lot of people talking about it, right? The same people that are involved in the CRISPR landscape, unfortunately, have not really given the right visibility to this type of data, right? So I want to take a quick reminder to everybody here. CBO10, this was May 12, like I said, data was published, and they believe that they are the first allogeneic CAR T cell therapy to achieve 100% overall response rate, right, for all patients, and equals 6. So that's 6 patients, or at least 5 patients that they were able to study, right? So 100% overall response rate and 4 out of 5 complete response. And the one that did not get the complete response actually got partial response. So you can basically say 100% overall response rate. Which is absolutely amazing. It's never been done in the history before, and now you have a CRISPR company that is able to do that in this landscape, which is mind-boggling, and that happened obviously 3 weeks ago, and unfortunately there has not been the right coverage, in my opinion, about it, right? So look at this, longer duration data, right? So they're expected year-end 2022 for more data. We're going to get a lot more data. They're on track for that. They haven't changed their perspective on it. Now, June 10, we'll be getting a lot of verbal explanation about this data, and that's why I want to show it to you guys later this week. That video clip, that video interview that they're going to be conducting later this week. But ultimately, they're talking about generally well tolerated, enrolling future patients at dose level 2. So there is a potential future development there. So this is not a one-time thing where now it's just about injecting in patients and just monitoring, hoping for the best. They're, of course, reiterating on that. That's the whole point of phase 1, phase 2 of a clinical trial. So obviously the market here is huge. I don't even want to talk about this. I mean, everybody knows at this point how huge this is. CAR T cells is a huge space. In my opinion, there are those traditional CRISPR companies that are tackling specific disease. Again, very novel, very needed. Whether that's CRISPR Therapeutics, whether that's NTLA, I think whatever they're doing is amazing. They're getting great data. And of course, the TAM, the total addressable markets for those companies, those programs are amazing. But then you have a company in its own sphere, in its own world, like Caribou, right? What they're doing here, I think it's just amazing what they've been able to do. I think it's just, mind-boggling that they were able to achieve this type of data with only one dose at their first trial, at their first go at it, right? When you think about it, there's companies like Graphic Bio that delayed phase 1 trial. You have companies like Editas that have reiterated their phase 1, that changed the whole program, changed their leadership multiple times. And then you have companies like Verve Therapeutics that are getting interviews left from right? Look, I have nothing against Verve Therapeutics, but when you come on ARK Invest like 2-3 times in less than a year, when you have interviews like we talked about in yesterday's video, this random interview with a CEO for just about 40 minutes, and you have not gone to a phase 1 clinical data trial, you have not published any sort of data, all you've done is preclinical data on monkeys, right? And as opposed to this company here, Caribou Biosciences, which literally posted data on 5 patients that have 100% overall response rate, basically giving us a way to combat cancer through CAR T cells. And that's just their first program, right? I think it's unfair. I think you have these interviews with Beam Therapeutics. Look, I'm a huge fan of Beam Therapeutics. I love them. I am invested in them as well. But ultimately, when you have this much exposure on companies that have published zero set of data, zero, I think it's quite unfair. I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have even made this type of video if this company here, Caribou Biosciences, was covered properly or was giving the respect that I think it deserves. But clearly, it has not. I'm one of the only YouTubers that are actually covering this channel, this company, right? So it's quite disappointing to say, the least. Look at this. This video was published 4 days ago with the CEO of this company, basically going over a presentation she gave at the end of April. Obviously not covering the data itself. It was just talking about the company, their programs, and so on. And it got in less than 33 views in 5 days. That's what I'm talking about. The lack of coverage, the lack of exposure to this company. Now, whether they are like Rachel, whether she's declining interviews, whether that's the company declining interviews, I don't know. I'm not an insider. I have no inside information. I don't know how this type of PR is happening between this company and the public. But clearly here, something has to change. You have this amazing company that's publishing amazing data, and it's getting absolutely no coverage. Look at this, guys. In the news, Yahoo Finance, the only last news that you got out of their press release, which I'm not gonna count, is 24 days ago, and that's literally 2 articles, one from Global's Newswire and one from Bazinga. Global's Newswire, all they do is just copy paste whatever a company posts in their investor relations PR section. So Bazinga is literally the only news outlet that picked it up, and that was covering the 100% response rate. So then that begs questions, how come, these Verve Therapeutics, Beam Therapeutics, Adidas, Graphite Bio getting all this coverage on Twitter, on Reddit, and Caribou is literally like overlooked. And unfortunately, or fortunately, for us investors, we have this company at the bargain, right? This company is worth about 500 million at this point, market cap, and it's clearly published data on 5 patients, expected to publish a lot more data in less than 5 months, right? We're already halfway of the year. By November, or maybe potentially early part of December, we'll be getting more data. So very excited I'm very excited about this company. I think there's a lot of things happening. I think the data that we got back in 3 weeks ago, I think it's amazing. That PD-1 knockout genome editing strategy using child-Denise rDNA technology is obviously working, improving persistence of anti-tumor activity. But again, the world doesn't know this, just like I explained, just like I showed you guys. I think it's unfair. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Hopefully you guys are having a beautiful Sunday. Do like this video if you found value. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you're not. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching and have a beautiful end of the weekend. Thank you.